This episode of the Deep Thinkers podcast is brought to you by Crandall Pest Control. Crandall Pest Control is a family business that was founded in 2002. They have over 36 years combined experience on their team. They specialize in scorpions and termites. They do a lot of general pest. They do bee removal, rodents, and weed control. So if you have some weeds popping up in your lawn when your pest control guy comes by, he can get those for you. What makes them unique is their 7 step service plan. When they show up, you have a problem with pests. They have the solution, but they don't know what the problem is until they get there. So they listen to the problem, evaluate what needs to be done, and then go from there. Then they knock down all your spider webs so that your house looks nice. It doesn't look like you have pests every time. That's usually a good indicator if if you have bugs, if you have spider webs, because those spiders are living there, they're hanging out, they're making homes, and they need something to eat. They dust the block walls and cracks and crevices. This helps with general pest control, or this helps with pest control in general, but it also helps with scorpions. A lot of people will try to use diatomaceous earth when they do this themselves. That is fine. It's just that the moment it gets wet, it's rendered useless. So, and that can be as little moisture as your morning dew. So they have a dust that's specific for scorpions and also one that's for general pest, and they kind of go at your cracks in your walls and the little crevices in your home and things like that. They dust the entry points of your home. Now, amateurs will just dump pest control or insecticide in mass around their home. You'll see trails around the house in a lot of cases, where pest control professionals know where bugs are going to go, and so they put as little uh, insecticide as they can, with it still being enough to be effective. So they know how to apply it and where to apply it, so it does the best job. They spray the fence line and the walkways. They do the perimeter of your home, and then they'll granulate problem areas. So if you have a section of your property that's got a lot of ants or a lot of roaches, then they can drop some granules there to kind of take care of it. So if you call Crandall Pest Control, you can reach out at crandallpestcontrol.com. When you speak with them, mention the Deep Thinkers podcast, and you will get $30 off your first general pest or scorpion treatment. Again, mention the Deep Thinkers podcast, and they'll go ahead and drop your bill down $30 for that first time. Thank you very much, Planet Earth. This episode of the Deep Thinkers podcast is brought to you by Bright Island Outreach. Bright Island Outreach is a group of individuals, many of them dentists or dental professionals, that go down into the Dominican Republic multiple times a year. They are networked with local dental schools down there, and so they take dental students that are from the DR or going to school in the DR, and they take mobile dental units and go into these impoverished areas to provide pro bono work for the good people there who otherwise wouldn't have access to good dental care. They start with education and they teach them about oral hygiene. They also do fillings, extractions, root canals, and cosmetics. So they do a nice wide variety of procedures to take care of the people down there. Like I said, they go down there multiple times a year, so it's not like they're just showing up and providing a service one time and then disappearing into the wind. They take care of these people down there, and they make sure that they get the repeated dental work that they need. 100% of all the donations given to Bright Island Outreach goes to the cause. So the people that are working for it don't make any money off this. They just get out of it what they put into it, and it always makes you feel good to serve people and help other people, particularly when those people can't help themselves. So if you're looking for a charity to donate to, this is a great cause. All your money that you give will go to the cause. And if you want to get involved a little further, if you have an adventurous spirit and you want to go down to the Dominican Republic with this group, they also let you do that. Dr. Eric has been doing this since he was a child. His dad is a dentist, and so his family would often do these trips, so he's well versed in experiences like these. So check them out at brightislandoutreach.org.
Hello, Planet Earth. Today I'm sitting down with Kevin Lee. Kevin is a film producer, a head of production, and a longtime friend. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks. You'll notice that the sound quality of this podcast has increased dramatically. Kevin, take a bow.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome, buddy. This experience of watching him fiddle around with this thing for the last hour has brought back many, many, many memories of putting together, well, what would now be IKEA furniture, but before there was an IKEA, putting together furniture or appliances or even complicated toys when we were kids. Like with me putting something together, I just put it together. You can obviously see what goes where. Not so with Mr. Lee. First, Kevin reads the instructions in English. And then he reads them in Spanish and Russian.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, and then he lays out every piece in order by the instructions, lays the instructions out in front of it, lays it all around him. It probably takes him about 4 hours before he starts to actually assemble whatever it is he's assembling. And so I'm just sitting here just like, all right. But the result is excellent, so it sounds a lot better even through the headphones, which I've never been able to use before. So Kevin and I are right up here in these mics with our headphones on, looking like pros. It's a lot of fun. So, all right, buddy. Let's talk about film-friendly states.
All right.
Because that was something that you had shared with me back in the day. Kevin put me on a project, a film project called Kiss the Devil in the Dark. It's been released. Neither one of us has seen it.
No, the ill-fated project.
Yeah, this I had a great time. Okay, I was just happy to be there. Kevin, being a professional and knowing what a good project is and knowing what a not good project is, did not have as good a time as I did. So, yeah, we'll save all that juicy stuff for later. But yeah, it was kind of a fiasco. But I had a great time, and I just learned about 10 minutes ago that the film has made it into. It has been released, so I didn't know that before.
Yeah, that is brand new information.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, I've known it's been released for a while, but
yeah, until just now, I had no idea.
Well,
so,
there you go. You should go out and get a copy, I guess.
Yeah,
we'll watch it together.
Probably on iTunes. We should. In fact, there's probably a few people we could probably watch this with. They've probably already seen it, though.
I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. I mean,
yeah. I mean, how many people got pissed off during that project and wanted nothing more to do with it by the time they walked away?
Well, quite a few, and of course, it's my responsibility as a producer to make people happy, but sometimes things are out of your control directly, so you do what you can.
So the Kiss the Devil in the Dark t-shirts at the wrap party didn't smooth things over as much as you, because I still have mine. I was going to wear it tonight.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to mine.
Yeah.
It's somewhere, but
probably one of your kids has it somewhere, maybe stashed in one of the closets.
One of those, sleep in a t-shirt type of things.
Parkour t-shirt,
Yeah, probably. No, but I'm still on good terms with pretty much everyone in the production side of things.
Almost everyone.
Well, on the production side of things,
right?
Some of the other people not so much, but I'm not gonna talk bad about it.
We're not here to throw anyone into the bus, but
no, I'll be professional and everything here. But it's just like any production. You run into problems, and you got to deal with them, and sometimes personalities clash, and they don't get along so well. So you do what you can along the way to make sure everyone is happy. And
I was oblivious to all the drama.
Well, see, that's me doing my job. You didn't know.
Well, it was probably good, because I'd have been like, oh, hell no. He said what?
Yeah.
That sounded a little racist.
A little bit.
Yeah, that was not my intention. Oh, well. So, it's 2017, you have to be careful. I almost forgot what year it was there for a second. So, but yeah, so Kevin put me on that project, Kiss the Devil in the Dark. I got a IMDb credit as a carpenter. It was a lot of fun. I also got a second credit in the special thanks
Hey.
department.
You don't get those credits every day.
No. So that was pretty awesome, too. Yeah. Not everybody got those.
Nope.
Yep. So that was fun.
No, it's a special thanks for showing up on set and keeping my actresses entertained. I
Yeah.
think.
I noticed neither one of us made the very special thanks, though. I was a little bummed out about that.
Well, that's why there's thanks, there's special thanks,
Yeah.
and then there's very special thanks.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot to get that.
I thought we both should have been in that final tier. You particularly, but,
That's all right.
I'm
That's
not
all
going to
right.
be petty.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Maybe a little bit, So, but so Kevin put me on that project, and the second film was a bit darker, and that was The Coldest Night Ever in the Mountains.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, that one.
Yeah.
I totally forgotten about that one.
Yeah. There's pictures of me online holding the boom, and I look like I weigh 800 pounds because I've got like 4 t-shirts, 2 sweaters, and a jacket on.
Yeah.
And a beanie, and I'm still frozen. It was like we were in the mountains filming. It was like a student film, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't a student film. It was,
No.
I mean, it may as well have been a student film, but I mean,
Very,
it was,
very dark material.
Yeah, it was. No, it was a short film. There were some students that were working on it, but
Yeah.
it was a short film from a guy I'd known and worked on, kind of like a small little project. So he asked me to come on as a favor, and I did, and it was, it was fine. But what did you do on that?
I held the boom. I was a wrangler, and I held the boom. Remember, I guided the guy that holds the camera, him, when he was walking.
Oh,
when
right.
when they're storming through the forest.
That's right.
I'm making
That's
sure
right.
that guy doesn't back into a tree.
That's right. You were PA for me.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
So the 2 credits.
I never got a credit for that one. I don't even know the name of that one.
Oh.
It's a very dark film. I don't know that. It was very dark subject material.
Well, I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, you don't remember?
I don't remember what happened to it. It's another one of those projects that you work on and then.
Yeah. Oh, I want that. I want that. I would love to have a credit for that. Every single one.
All right, that's two credits.
Yeah,
for
2
you.
credits. Yeah,
Yeah.
just chucking them up there.
Well, we'll have to get just more then.
Yeah. Yeah, have to get some more soon.
Mm-hmm.
They're fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was cool to see that side of it. That was kind of cool because you really were just doing your buddy a favor and just showing up, and I was there because you were there.
Mm-hmm.
But when you showed up, like all the students were like, "Oh, Kevin's here," and they're like, "What are you doing here?" Like, I just know Kevin. Oh, okay.
Yes,
You
I live to impress students.
Yeah, these 19 and 20-year-olds. It was pretty funny, So all I wanted to say was, if you knew the stuff we were getting into when we were your age, whew.
Yes.
So, but yeah, man. So let's. One of the things that kind of was cool with that introduction with Kiss the Devil in the Dark was learning a little bit about the business side of it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a small budget film, independent film,
Mm-hmm.
in a film-friendly state, which I had no idea what the significance of any of that was until you kind of broke it down like a fraction for me.
When we talk about film-friendly states, I mean, the landscape is constantly changing. I mean, you'd see, films going to, a few years ago back to Louisiana and then to Georgia and, in Canada. Basically, they follow the incentive, and the incentives are generally broken down in a couple different ways. Most of them are either tax rebates or something of that sort, where it incentivizes people to come and spend money inside the state. So, right now Atlanta is huge. They've done
Where the players play,
where the players play,
and they ride on them things like every day.
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. So you got like all the Marvel, the Avengers movies and Captain America and everything that were filmed there. And,
Okay.
And of course, The Walking Dead is filmed there, and so
Right.
many things are filmed there. A lot of the people I know from Hollywood have kind of dual residencies. Like, they'll stay in Atlanta for part of the year when they're filming, and they come back to LA and do a couple different things like that. And it's all following the money. that's the business side of things, is making sure that the the film industry or the film business is a business. You got to make money, otherwise it doesn't float.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. I would think that Hollywood types are too soft to live in the heat and humidity of Atlanta. Yeah. It's like coming to Phoenix in the summer. You don't see them here very often.
Not so much, or
Yeah.
even in the wintertime. You don't see much happening in Arizona. Arizona got rid of their film incentives not too long ago. Actually, a few years back, but they're starting to bring them back now.
Break it down for me. What are they doing?
Well,
What do they lose first?
what do they lose?
Yeah.
Well, they lost their incentive completely. So they're
Like what
used.
incentives would they do? Like
It was a rebate based incentive, much like everyone else, and I believe
Okay.
it was around 20%. Yeah, some of your more astute listeners will listen to that and they'll look it up online and be like, "Oh no, it was actually such and such."
I don't have that big of a following yet.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe in like 10 years they'll
Maybe.
dig through the archives and
yeah,
and
then they'll prove me wrong at that point.
Yeah.
So,
No one
send
will
your
care
letters,
about
your
that.
email into Jesse and
yeah.
let him know that was
Twitter.
Yeah,
At Jesse Noblesmith.
tweet him
Yeah.
the tweets. Send the tweets and the twits.
I'm up to like 130 followers now.
That's some
Building
big
a
stuff.
Strong, building
Big
a strong
stuff.
following on Twitter. I did get in a fight with David Avocado Wolf on Twitter, and I learned the hard way that if you don't screenshot something before they block you, it's gone forever. He challenged me to a cage match. Like me personally.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah. Well, I was saying some pretty mean things to him though, and I was like tagging South Park in it the whole time, so that South Park would get. I was like, David, now that I have your attention, we need to get your all-important message out to the masses. South Park is the perfect medium for you, So he was yeah.
That's exactly what you should be using
yeah.
your internet fame for, is
Yeah.
picking fights.
Well, I got
with.
a lot of friends with that.
That's good.
Like normally, like before pre-David Avocado battle, I got like one a week. During that 3-hour time period, I got like 30. And I'm getting like one every other day since then.
That is great news.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I should probably like do this again. I'll have to find somebody else.
Start picking on people randomly.
Yeah, the food babe.
Trolling.
Maybe I'll start trolling the food babe pretty
Yeah.
hard next time.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, good.
No, but so yeah. Reach out to me on Twitter, and if you have any questions for Mr. Kevin Lee, you can find him on Twitter.
Yeah, I never check Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm not on the social media too much.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Or just hit me up on Twitter, and I'll give you his cell phone number.
Just put out there.
There we
Why
go.
not? Why not?
So.
Yeah.
So.
But to answer your question, for Arizona, they are planning on doing something. They're just starting up a new film commission type office to try to do stuff, and it looks like what they're planning on doing is just like a flat discount instead of a rebate or an incentive. So,
Is that lame or is that cool or?
you take it where you can get it. It just depends. With like most places, you can give like Puerto Rico, for example, it's like a 60% incentive rebate.
Yeah.
But everyone
That's huge.
it is huge. But everyone that I've talked to,
So that means, just so I'm understanding you correctly, if I want to put $1 million of my extra cash I have laying around into a film in Puerto Rico, I get $600,000 back.
so that would be in an ideal world. It's
There's loopholes and there's
it's 60% on your spend in Puerto Rico, and that doesn't include things like, let's say you're paying some big Hollywood guy coming out of LA, that it's not included in it. It's what you're spending in Puerto Rico.
What if I don't pay him until he reaches Puerto Rican soil?
No,
And I cut him a check there in Puerto Rico
nope.
No.
Nope. So, because they want that money to be spent there, obviously.
Right.
They want you to hire people locally. They
Okay.
want you to use vendors locally.
Okay.
And that's the problem with Puerto Rico, at least everyone I've talked to, is they're like, yeah, it's actually a lot less, and you have to end up bringing in a lot of your own equipment, and you don't get rebate on that. So that's not eligible. This is not eligible.
Okay.
So, it's a fine line between what's good and what isn't. That's why a lot of people are going over to Atlanta and Georgia, is because there's a lot of stuff there to use. So you
they
can actually,
they can make that look like Puerto Rico if they want to.
yeah, if they want to. Yeah, they got a beach there. You go to Savannah, you
Yeah.
shoot something there in the ocean.
There
Why
you
not?
go. Yeah. We can't do that in Arizona.
Not so much.
We
That's
got
a lot of
Roosevelt.
green screen.
We got
That's it.
Roosevelt Lake.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on in Arizona for pretty obvious reasons. Not that I wouldn't love to bring film here, but I
Yeah.
did shoot a project in at the Grand Canyon and in Flagstaff, and that was fun. But I ran into problems with people on the Indian reservation there, as you would expect. So, but other than that, it was great. It was actually really lax because like the whole permitting process, like in L.A. and New York, they have so many things that are filmed there on a daily basis that you're disrupting people's lives. You're getting in the way. They don't like it. There's a lot of things you have to do going through the process to get films done and all that stuff. So it's expensive. It's time consuming. But in Arizona, it was a piece of cake. It was like, hey, do you mind if we film in your bar? He's like, oh, great, come on in. And
Yeah, this would be awesome.
it was free, and we were filming on the street, and a cop drove by and
I'm on TV.
waved at us. We're like, wow, this is great. I'll take that.
Yeah.
So there are it's perks and then it's drawbacks. We had to bring everything in from LA. We had to drive in cars from LA, like picture cars, so they were delivered there.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of stuff going on, but
Yeah.
yeah, you get that anywhere you go.
With Arizona, it's not too bad, but I imagine if you go a little further out, it gets a lot more expensive.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, just like anything. You got to travel, and you got to take people out there. You're paying for
Yeah.
days and hotels and all that kind of
Gotcha.
stuff.
So in Puerto Rico, you'll get good discounts on food and hotels and whiskey
Yeah,
and
I mean,
booze.
it may get better as time goes on.
Yeah.
But it hasn't really taken hold. You don't see a lot of people filming in Puerto Rico that, if they don't have to.
Gotcha.
So they're not actually getting that 60% rebate on everything. They're getting maybe 40%, which is still good, but it's just a lot of trouble out there.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I recently reposted a picture of a cactus that looks like it's flipping people off on my Instagram. I reposted that from Mark Hamill's page. So that makes me highly suspicious that Mark Hamill is in this state right now. Probably something to do with Star Wars.
I don't know.
You don't know.
Mark and I, we don't talk that often.
No one's told you anything.
No.
Damn it, Kevin.
I don't have the inside scoop on that. I'm sorry.
All right, we're done here.
Yeah.
No, but it's also highly possible because saguaro cactuses tend to hang around for a while, and they kind of tend to look the same, through the decades. So it could
Could have just been an old post. Maybe he was in Mexico. There's saguaros in Mexico, right?
This looked like a very Arizona-y,
Well, could be.
Arizona-ish saguaro.
Could be. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
So
And who knows if it's Star Wars related? Maybe he's
why
just,
else would he be anywhere in Arizona?
I don't know.
In the desolate.
Why would anyone go to Arizona? I guess you're right there.
Yeah, unless work was making you, like forcing you.
Yep.
If you could live in Hollywood and just live off that Star Wars money, or be out in the godforsaken deserts of Arizona, which would you choose if you had to flip a coin? Or no, not if you had to flip a coin. If you just had to pick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Paul McCartney lived down in Tucson for a good long time.
Yeah, but I've lived in England, very wet, very dark, and chilly.
So the pendulum has swung the other way for him.
Yes.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah. Of all places in Arizona, why did Sir Paul McCartney pick Tucson?
It is a mystery.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe he didn't come back from one of those acid trips. Yeah. They're taking me to Tucson. That was a horrible British accent.
Yeah.
All my friends in England are going to mock me. And they're not listening to the show anyway. Yeah, they've only played
We could be saying anything.
They've
at
only
this
played
point.
like 10 minutes over there.
Yeah.
I got more view time in Sweden. Yeah.
Yeah. They've all cut out by now. So
Yeah.
you could say
for
anything
sure.
at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. 19, no, I'm right about at like 25, 30 minutes for average view duration right now. So they're still listening. We're like, around 19, 20 minutes.
So we really got to give them something juicy. Like stay tuned for.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yeah. Don't change the channel. Stay
Yeah.
tuned for gossip on
Yeah.
the next Avengers movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Stay on that treadmill for the next 20 minutes listening to this.
Yeah.
So,
No, I'm not. I'm not going to give any gossip on any movies. I'm sorry.
no, I didn't expect you to.
No.
Yeah. I asked you about stuff and you're like when we're having lunch. You're like, yeah, I can't tell you. I'm like, really? Like, no one else is in this restaurant except for the kid cooking fries, and you can't tell me? That's intellectual property. Oh. Okay.
You'd understand.
Yeah, I don't push it. That's why I don't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
People ask me, like, so what does Kevin do? I'm like, he's a film producer. They're like, well, I'm like, I don't know. He never tells me anything.
Yeah.
Like,
It's mostly because I don't know anything.
Well,
and
then,
I try to sound like I know something.
it's like you can't tell me anything. Then you leave town, and when you come back, you're like, it was a hectic week. I don't want to talk about it. What? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I never know.
Never know. We'll just wait till the next time we put you in one of the movies.
Yeah.
And you'll be in the background or something.
I was super bummed that my scene got cut from Kiss the Devil in the Dark.
What was your scene?
I was a homeless man. Remember, I was growing my hair long and scruffy.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Actually, I was growing my hair long and scruffy in my beard because that's the way I prefer it.
Right. But you just happened to look like that.
Yeah, that's what I told my employer at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so. And then because the director had to keep things well within his budget, sort of, that scene got cut.
Sorry. That's them's the berries.
Yeah. So I was really planning on blowing open Hollywood there with that scene.
That would have been it. That would have been your breakthrough role right there.
Yeah, I should give my line here.
You would have been the next Thor.
I should have given my line here so that I can nail it one time for the masses. Whoa, that's a nice bit of skirt there.
You still remember your line?
Oh yeah, I'd practiced that line.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
I was catcalling.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. Oh well.
There you go. Well,
homeless man number one will never.
We'll never know.
The world will never know.
Never know.
So, let's talk about some of the fun projects you've done, where you were like, weren't you, Evil Henchman number 4?
Yes. Every once in a while, I get to be in front of the camera instead of behind the camera.
Yeah.
It's fun. I enjoy doing it. I would hate to do it for a career. And so all those actors who are out there, you know, my hat is off to you, because it's hard work, real hard work.
Yeah.
You get rejected a lot and all that kind of stuff. So when I can step in front of the camera and you know, play make believe for a little bit, it's kind of fun. So I've had such roles as Henchman number 4.
Yeah.
Which was great.
That was in Last Mans on Earth.
Last Mans on Earth.
MANS on Earth.
Yep, which I did the music for, and when we did reshoots, they ended up, I ended up being friends with the guys, so they ended up putting me in the film.
Yeah, that's a great movie, by the way. It's got the blind kid from Dumb and Dumber in it.
Mm-hmm. Brady Bloom.
And it's got Charon
Prabhakar.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to try on Charon's last name.
Don't worry about it. He's on. He's got a recurring role in Silicon Valley and stuff like that. And then you know, a few different people that I've known and worked with before. Rick Macy is in it. He plays the villain, and Andrea Chiliberti, who was I guess she was Miss Missouri at one point.
Wow.
Yep.
You go, girl.
Yeah. And, you know, I've worked with her a few times as well. So I've casted her in a few things that I've done. I've cast her in one thing, and I've attempted to cast her in a couple other things. But just her schedule didn't work out. So.
Right.
But, you know, good group of people I worked with. Let's see, I was also in a music video for Above and Beyond, where I played a cop, a highway patrolman.
Yes.
Yep.
That's like me playing a cop.
Yeah. No, I had a mustache and everything.
Wow.
Yes, you can see me on it. The name of the track is.
I can't just type Above and Beyond Kevin Lee.
Well, yeah, you can, and if you know, several videos will come up. But the one I'm talking specifically is "We're All We Need."
Did you do a couple videos for them?
Yeah, we did 7 for them.
Right on.
So we did a lot of stuff for them. Great band, great music. You know, I did it with a director, a friend of mine, Kenlon Clark, who. You know, we originally directed a music video for the track called "Sticky Fingers," which Andrea was in. So,
there you go.
Yep. And so we did that, a movie homage to Vertigo. So you know, Above and Beyond, the band, they're big movie guys. They love movies, love cinema.
Cool.
So they wanted to do homages to classic movies. So the first one they picked was Vertigo. So they originally were going to set off, kind of do like different types of movies, different directors, but they fell in love with Kenlon, and we all hit it off so well that we ended up doing 6 more of them after that. So we did
Nice.
the first one was an homage to Sticky Fingers. The second one was an homage to Pixar's WALL-E.
Okay.
The third one was Thelma and Louise, which is the We're All We Need. The fourth one was an homage to Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Which I still haven't seen.
It's a Jim Carrey movie.
Oh yeah, with that Titanic girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good old what's her name?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yep.
Kate, it's coming. Winslet.
Yep, you got it.
There we go. Look
You
at
got
me.
it.
Look at me.
Yep. Circle gets the square.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And let's see. The other ones were, I think there was, like an homage to 500 Days of Summer.
Cool.
And, there was one for Catch Me If You Can.
Nice.
So, roughly in that order. Again, people will look at this and they'll say, "Oh no, you did this, this, and this." So,
I don't think so.
no one's going to.
Yeah,
look this up.
my listeners, all couple dozen of them, aren't that enthusiastic.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Well, if they are, then they can look it up. Pretty much all the above and beyond.
My
ones
mom
they did
might
off
look
that
it up.
album.
My mom might look it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Vicky.
So, yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Thanks.
Great. Now you've totally outed my mom to the masses.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't know her name was Vicky until you mentioned it.
Yeah. Well.
I could have been talking to anyone.
Yeah, I do refer to my parents in the as Ray and Vicky when I'm talking about them, but a lot of people find that weird, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. I just find when I'm telling a story about them, I'm always
to be honest, though, that is not the weirdest thing you do. That's
not
down on
even,
the
not
list.
even close.
No,
Yeah.
so
I require constant supervision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Court ordered.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm the reason why most people who know me can't have nice stuff.
That is true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now that we got that sorted out.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, definitely not the weirdest thing I do.
No, not by a long shot.
No,
so,
not at all.
So it's forgivable.
Yeah, for sure.
We've moved on.
Yeah. So I'll call them Ray and Vicky, and everyone will be like, wait. And I'll be like, no. Mm. It's just what I call them when I'm talking about, instead of saying my mom, my dad, my mom, my dad, my. It's like, no, Ray and Vicky. That's the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like we've solved that now.
Mm-hmm. Now everyone knows where I stand.
Good.
So, but I digress. What were we talking about?
I was telling you about some of the projects I've done.
Yeah, let's go back.
Okay. So, music videos. I've shot a lot of commercials. We got a number of different projects in development that I can't talk about yet. Those are the things that I can't talk about. But a number of different things that are pretty good.
Oh, nice. What videos of Logic did you do?
Let's see. We did one for, it was called Under Pressure.
Okay.
All shot in the first person. So think of like your Call of Duty type games.
Nice.
And then we did another one that ended up not getting released, and that was for a track called Buried Alive.
Okay.
And
that's the green screen one.
Yeah, it was shot entirely on green screen. Like everything was green. Like an entire, about half of a football field on green screen.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty cool. But one of those things that you know what, in the end, personalities clash. Maybe someone didn't like this or that or the other, and it's just part of the game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but
gotcha. Which one of those songs did he sing on Jimmy Kimmel? Like that clip you showed me on YouTube where you're standing.
Oh yeah, I went with him and some friends. Invited us to come along. To be his like +1. Actually, we were kind of like plus
19.
Plus like 5.
He's a 15, rapper, so that's how they do it.
Yeah, that's right. So, Bobby.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. Logic is an MC, so that's how they do it.
Yeah, Bobby's a cool guy. You know, I've been over to the place maybe a couple times, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of, and I don't know a lot of rappers. I don't run in those circles.
Yeah,
but
I know a fair amount of Juggalo rappers, but yeah, they're not listening to this podcast.
No, but probably not. But Bobby's a real cool guy. Every time I've met him, he's been nothing but like, you know, class act. So
Super cool to you. In fact, he was super cool to me through you. He was super cool to my nephew through me through you.
no, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I had him call your nephew, but
Okay.
your nephew didn't pick up the phone.
Yeah, and he was out in the desert, so like his voicemail didn't save. But I mean, how often does your favorite rapper call you and leave a voicemail on your cell phone?
Yeah, not very often.
Yeah, and I told him, I'm like, dude, if you get a call from a 310 area code, just answer it.
Yeah, pick it up.
And what does he do? Not answers it.
Yeah, like a fool.
It's okay.
No, I
That was awesome, by the way.
well, I'm glad I liked it. I did something similar for a friend of mine. Her daughter was a huge fan of Neo, and I shot
cool.
a project with Neo, and
Wait.
it was
Like, from the Matrix.
no
Oh.
NE apostrophe or hyphen YO.
Oh, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like must be under one of those categories of things you weren't able to tell me.
No.
Oh.
This was Neo. We did a music video for Marsha Ambrosius for RCA, and Neo was singing on track with her.
Tight.
So I was in Brooklyn filming it, and you know, I don't normally ask like, hey, could I get a picture or anything like that, but it's usually for other people, and,
Yeah.
and I'm cool with it. So I said, hey, you know, Neo, would you mind, you know, saying a happy birthday to you know, a friend of mine, her daughter? And he's like, oh yeah, totally. He was totally cool about it and everything.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so, you know, I got him on video wishing her a happy birthday, and I sent it over to her, and she, you know, flipped out like, oh, this is amazing.
That is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool that those people will be, you know, will oblige you on things like that. I'm sure that they get hit up to do a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think it goes with the territory. If you're going to be a public figure,
Yeah.
then you kind of got to expect that, you know. But there's
Right.
some people that aren't as cool about it. Fortunately, I haven't worked with anyone that I could say like, oh, this guy or this girl, she's
A
you
real
know,
jerk face.
yeah, or
Yeah.
a stinker, you know. I haven't. There's only been a handful of times where I've had to, you know, have kind of tough conversations with talent, but
Some people don't like you right now. You're being a jerk.
yeah, I've had to. No, and it's I try to be the nice guy and everything.
Yeah, like I think you're great. It's all these other they
Yeah.
just don't understand.
I'm
you.
on your side. Help me.
I'm trying to make you happy. Like, what do you want? You're the reason we're all here.
No, I remember this poor girl. She was having trouble with one of the scenes, and she ended up giving giving some sass back to the director and the people in crew, specifically in special effects makeup. This happened to be on the production.
I
of
was
Run.
going to say, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
yeah.
and I'm not going to name names or anything
Yeah.
like that, but I had to pretty much fire her off set right there, which would have been difficult because it's hard to fire talent because they got to be in the rest of the scene.
Yeah.
Well, this happened to be a lot of prosthetic makeup on this person, and they ended up getting replaced. And you know, look, I understand. You know, her point of view is she was having a tough time with makeup, feeling claustrophobic and all this kind of stuff. People
and they had a lot of makeup on in case
Yeah.
the devil in the dark.
Yeah, poking and prodding and everything like that in your face. Plus, there was long hours and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
I said, look, you know, I'm very sympathetic to you, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. And she understood it, and she turned things around, and from there on out was really good. But you know, it's all part of the game. That's what I
Yeah.
said. You know, I really respect actors and what they do. They have to go through a lot. So when you get actors that are good and are good people, genuinely good people, I love seeing that. But
Yeah.
and unfortunately, I haven't had to run into anyone where I'm like, oh man, that guy.
I got along with everyone pretty much great on that scene. On that set, there was one actor that kind of yelled at me, but by the end of the week, we'd smoothed it over and we were cool.
You probably deserve it.
I
though.
did. Well, I didn't know what I was doing. I'd put that set together, and I hadn't seen it because, you know, it was like day 4, and I didn't need to be where I didn't need to be. You know, so I wasn't going on the set to look at it and be like, oh, let me see, because obviously people were working on the set and they didn't need me walking around just looking.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah, go check it out. Everyone's on break right now. So they were taking pictures, and I moved and ended up standing directly in the path of one of the actors. And when he turned, he's looking right at me, and he just kind of like, everything came together in that moment. He kind of snapped at me. I thought he was joking, so I laughed at him, kind of in his face a little bit.
Didn't turn out too well for you.
No, and he was salty for the next day or two, and I was like, oh, dang, okay, I realize what's going on here. But it ended up being, by the end of the production, we were cool because he had a horrible time at the hotel, and I ended up letting him crash at my place. And so by the end of
I
it
remember
all,
that.
Yeah, by the end of it all,
Yes.
it was cool. Yeah.
Well, you weren't the only person that he was having trouble with, as I recall.
Yeah,
In
well,
fact,
he's
I
a
had to get him out of the hotel because he had
almost-
trouble with the hotel. So
Almost got arrested.
Yeah.
His first hour in Provo.
that's all right.
Yeah, Hollywood folks, you drop an FU and no one bats an eye.
Mm-hmm.
You say that in Provo and
Them as fighting words.
yeah, well, it literally is like someone hit you.
Mm-hmm. You can get arrested for that.
You say that to someone in their establishment, and they're going to call the cops on you.
Yeah.
And the cops are going to show up.
Because they got nothing else to do.
That's a big deal, Yeah, they're not, aggressively pursuing sexual assault cases in Provo. So yeah, they'll come down for anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
So get your shit together, Provo police. There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen in that department. But
Well, hey, hats off to them though, because they came out and
didn't arrest him.
They did not arrest him.
Right.
So I was shooting another production there in Provo, and so we were shooting this video for a Japanese artist called Eme, spelled Aimer, like Aimer, but it's pronounced Eme, French word.
Right.
Japanese artist, French word.
I'm following.
She's huge in Japan. There you go.
Not so big here in Mesa.
Certain circles who follow that J-pop stuff. I hadn't heard of her, but
Yeah, there's probably people that are listening to this exploding like, oh my gosh, she has no idea who
no.
she is.
yeah. But so we were filming this place at it was in Provo. They kind of have a little castle type of place there. It was a big amphitheater. It's called the Provo Castle.
Yeah.
So I filmed there a few times. And again, it's real cheap to film in Utah and everything.
Provo
but-
has its own castle.
I know. So we were filming there. We were going to do this big bonfire. It was kind of like a medieval type, good old fashioned witch burning.
Like it.
Mm-hmm. And so we were set to catch this thing on fire. It was a pyre. It was maybe like 6 foot by 6 foot base that was 3 feet tall of like super flammable, like sticks and brush and like tar, pitch on it.
Bring wood and oil.
Yeah, exactly. And so with the stake down the middle, and so we put this witch on there. We filmed it in two different ways. So the actress was never in any real danger. That's
Right.
That's I'm giving you the inside track on some movie magic right there. So
I mean, so they don't actually burn the witches?
they don't, apparently. They don't.
Man, movies are bullshit, man.
I know. It's all fake.
Yeah.
But you didn't hear that from me.
Here I thought Mel Gibson gave his life for Braveheart, and apparently not.
No, he's still around.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so we were set to burn this off, and I had cleared it with the city and everything like that. Did everything I could, and like the gardener of the place got pissed off because I was going to like burn his grass, and I'm like, really, like. And so they call the fire department, and the fire department comes out, and they're like, you can't burn this. Like
Listen, you can't burn this chick. This guy's lawn looks.
yeah.
Look
So
at that.
so the gardener was out there kind of huffing and puffing, and there's a couple of
That was the
different-
most exciting thing he
probably.
did all year.
Yeah. So the
He
fire
probably
department was
still
there.
tells his friends, I don't have to let people do whatever they want here. I had
No.
his movie crew out here try to burn somebody. I wouldn't let it go down.
No, that's right. He's
Yeah, he-
hanging on to that, probably telling stories of it.
Yeah.
But so the fire department shows up. The marshal's out there, and they're looking at everything. And we had hired a pyrotechnician. So there was like a gas line going out to it. So this thing was going to go up, but we had planned it appropriately. We had a water truck and everything like that there, and it was ready to go. But the guy looks at it and is like, no, like anything over like 3 feet high, like you can't do it unless you notify like every single fire department around here, and it was like too late to do it. And so he's like, no, we're not going to do it. You can't do it. And I'm like, hey man, come on, like we're in from Hollywood and everything, and so we have these actresses that are in these skimpy witch outfits or whatever,
which that goes a long way for persuasion.
It really does, and that leads into the story later on. But I'm like, hey, I called everyone, like, here's my permit. This is what I said. There was a drawing of what I was doing with
like
my
arrows,
best stick figures on there, And,
well, you're a pretty good drawer, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the point was it was there, and he's like, well, I guess the city didn't tell you that they had to call, so he's like, well, let me make a call. So he goes back and he calls, the fire marshal, I guess the head fire marshal there, and I hear him talking on the phone. It's like, yeah, well, looks like they got everything good, like
actresses in witch costumes.
Pretty
boss.
much.
What do you want me to
so,
say?
So he's like, well, in order to do this, we have to have a truck out here and an ambulance in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, bring them both.
And I was like, oh great, like more expense and everything. And he's like, yeah, it's like a few of my buddies, do you mind if we come up and do it? And I'm like, nah, man, yes. Like come on up. So a few minutes later, we had an ambulance and a couple firemen with a fire truck pulling up, and there's maybe 6 of them there, and they're all watching everything and wanting to get pictures with the witches, and
yes.
So yeah, like one of the lead witch was a friend of mine, so I'm like, all right, get in there.
Go on, girl.
Yeah, make your money.
We gotta keep this under budget, girl. Go take pictures with the boys.
Exactly. So she did, and I mean they hung out there and for free, like
that's awesome,
with the fire trucks and everything, and they helped put it out, and it was great. So again, hats off to them. That's the plus of filming in a kind of a smaller film friendly place. Because in LA, they never would have filmed.
Like, nope, we don't care who you are.
Never would have
unless
filmed.
This is a $50 million film. We're not
even
talking.
then, they say no. I mean, they were so jaded to film that you got to throw a lot of money around.
Yeah.
So this was it was a fun little project, and did it not too long ago, maybe a year and a half ago.
Nice.
2 years ago.
Cool.
But fun little project. Anyways, lots of little stories like that.
That's funny.
But each production has its own personality and own problems that you run into, and,
Yeah. When you talk about that fire, that reminds me of the night that we were filming in the mountains. We had a gas line going to the fire, and I didn't know that when propane gets that cold, it sinks to the bottom of the tank, and so our pyrotechnics guy is like holding these propane tanks like in the fire to like warm them. I'm like, my eyes are wide. I'm just like,
flammable.
What do you like? He's like, no,
fire.
don't worry. This guy's got a beard that's like 4 times as long as mine. He's
yeah,
like,
it was the same pyrotechnician I used on the
nice
video.
Nice. Yeah, he's like, no, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yep.
But I guess one of the guys there, it was the camera guy. He didn't know that there was a gas line going to it, and the fire would go way high and then go way low, and then he's like, how is this happening?
Movie magic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we ran into a group of individuals that were LARPing there. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
They had some pretty impressive gear on.
Yes.
Yeah. At first I thought that was because I walked up and saw them there. I thought that was part of your crew. I was
not like, part of my crew.
Yes, this is going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
No. So
mm-hmm.
I don't even know if they were filming what they were doing, but they looked impressive.
They were practicing for the LARP festival that was coming up.
Really?
I wish I got that excited about something. There's nothing in my life that I get excited about at this point.
Yeah, those cosplay people, I got to tip my hat to them because they look amazing. And they make their costumes. They do their own makeup, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could be like a ghost. Like what? I'm a ghost. Do you remember when we went to Comic-Con in Salt Lake?
Yeah, I do.
That was one of the best, like, sneak in the front door
Did
scenarios.
we sneak in? I didn't think so. I had a friend of mine ran that. So
Yeah, but we cut like what, 8,000 people in line.
Oh yeah, we just walked in.
Yeah,
I don't wait in lines like that.
yeah, like we literally cut 8,000 people in line and walked in, and we saw the most portly, rotund Thor I had ever seen in my entire life. It's
Yep.
pretty hilarious.
The retirement years, I think,
Oh,
for Thor.
No, this was like an alternate dimension. Like this was like young Thor in a parallel universe where he got the short end of the genetic spectrum. You know, like,
Yeah. Well, you
But-
see all kinds, you know.
oh yeah, that. How many people were there? Do you think?
Oh, I have no idea.
It was the
Lots.
it was the biggest one they'd ever had for Comic-Con up to that point.
Yeah, it was a lot of them there. I think it was like the largest turnout for that area
Ever.
Yeah, for I think it was
Yeah.
at Salt Palace in Salt Lake,
That's crazy.
and yeah, so they had I don't even know how much,
Yeah.
100,000. I could
Yeah,
be
so many
making up
people.
numbers at this point.
Yeah.
They had a lot.
Yeah. Like a good percentage of the state of Utah was in attendance there, and probably a good percentage of like Wyoming and Montana as well, and Nebraska.
At least the percentage that was into that.
Yeah, which fairly large, I would imagine, from those places.
Yeah, who knows?
If you're not a cowboy, it's a lonely life
That's
in
true.
Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you ever been to Wyoming?
Nope. Never.
That's probably the most boring state I've ever been to,
Could be.
and I've been to Nebraska.
Could be very boring too. One of the flyover states.
Nebraska has wheat fields though.
Wyoming does not.
Has nothing.
Has nothing. Has
No.
cattle. What does Wyoming have?
Wild horses every now and again.
Okay.
I've taken a greyhound through Wyoming.
That sounds very depressing.
One of the most
actually.
miserable experiences of my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's like an all-time low. Taking a greyhound through Wyoming is like going to the Golden Corral for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think if you take a greyhound anywhere, you're in a certain position in your life. Like I don't think anyone takes the greyhound for fun.
I definitely wasn't in my prime. You know, that was the only greyhound experience I've ever had.
Yeah.
So
There's like only certain circumstances where I think taking the greyhound. Like I can even see like I'm going on a train ride because of the nostalgia of going on a train ride or something like that.
the
you know?
greyhound is like you have no other options.
This is true.
Yeah, I was
anywhere in America for
going,
$79.
I was it was when I was selling satellite door to door, and I was out in Denver, and I had had enough, and I went home, and I was like, man, at least if I go back out to Denver, I can make some money.
You took the midnight greyhound.
The company
Going
put
anywhere.
me on a Grow Honey, yeah, the Midnight Greyhound going
Anywhere.
where.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't really remember too many people from the bus ride. Kind of kept to myself.
Probably a good idea.
This was before smartphones even, but I had an iPod.
Okay.
So had an iPod Touch. It was fancy. So
Wow.
this is just before the iPhone came out, and I took the Greyhound back to Denver to make some money. Yeah, don't remember any of the people on the bus, but I did meet some interesting friends in Evanston, Wyoming, where we, what can I say? I'm an honest pothead. I found some potheads, smoked a joint, got back on the Greyhound. That may have been the only thing that got me through the experience there.
Yeah, that's kind of at the point where I think most people would be
Yeah,
if they were riding
you
a
might do
Greyhound.
that at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
If I were riding a greyhound,
Yeah.
I think that's the
Yeah, in
point
Evanston,
where
Wyoming, we're like, all right, just give it here.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the point I am in my life right now.
38 years old, never
taking
done this
the
before.
greyhound. I'm in Evanston, Wyoming. I got nothing less. Nothing else left.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think Dances with Wolves might have been filmed there.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Who would want to film it there when you could film it
Literally
anywhere else? Like Nebraska. Nebraska's way prettier than Wyoming. All those wheat fields, oil drums. Little thunk, thunk, thunk. Those little oil things in the distance. Yeah, It's pretty.
Okay,
Silhouettes, the night sky, the sunset.
that's good.
Yeah.
All right, We've nailed that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, film-friendly states. There's something else I wanted to ask you about. I wanted to talk to you about like a spec trailer.
Okay.
Like I had no idea that there was such a thing.
There is such a thing.
Yeah. Until you told me.
Yeah, and they're usually used kind of internally in the industry to put together to give yourself an idea.
Right.
Trailers are so commonly used now. In the industry, everyone knows them. The audiences know them. Everyone, you love to see trailers.
Right.
Which they come before the movie. Quick factoid: trailers actually originally came after the movie.
Yeah.
That's why
I
they
think
call them.
they still do that in England.
Well, that's why they call them trailers. But
Yeah.
now they're the main attraction, or not the main attraction, but they're up front, and you get 15 trailers before you see the movie.
Yeah. Don't they call them previews a lot of times too?
I'm in certain circles, I'm sure.
Yeah, but in the elite professional circles,
Yes,
they're all trailers.
they are trailers. So,
Yeah.
for a spec trailer, you would say, okay, this is what I'm planning on doing, and there's certain ways you can go about it. I've seen them where someone has filmed the entire thing themselves. So you're making kind of a glorified trailer, maybe 3 minutes long, 5 minutes long,
Yeah.
extended trailer. You're getting the point of your movie across, and you're trying to kind of picture it for people. And then there's like some hybrid ones where you film some scenes, but you're borrowing scenes from other movies, basically saying, hey, I want it to kind of look like this.
Right.
Or there's ones that are completely made from clips of other movies
That's awesome.
that are trailers, and say like, okay, this is the look and feel that I'm going for. And you'll generally use them to pitch them to an executive or an investor and say, this is what we want to do. And, the idea is in hopes to get money.
Right.
So someone will say, I love your idea for a film, love your script, love people that are involved in it. Here's some money. Let's get started.
But
So-
can't you, in a film-friendly state, can't you sometimes get funding for a spec trailer and then get some money back because of the incentives for that state? Does it still fall into that category, or is it?
Most states require a certain spend.
Okay.
So, for example, like they would say, for a feature film, the minimum amount is $500,000 that you have to spend inside the state. And if you spend $500,000, then we'll give you back 15%. But if you spend over $1 million, then we'll give you 25% back on it. So it's a scale based upon how much you spend, and it's different for TV episodes versus feature films.
Right.
So a lot of that incentive is taken up by bigger productions because they would
Gotcha.
rather have, a $100 million film than a $1 million film because that's a lot more money that's spent in their state. Generally speaking, they only have a certain amount in their budget for that.
Right.
I was looking at filming a film in Washington, and I think they only had like $15 million in their budget for the state, and that is almost entirely used up by the bigger studios in the first 2 months of the year,
Right.
fiscal months, because I guess their fiscal year end was like March or something like that. But it's pretty much all used up, so there was zero chance of getting any of the incentive for any independent projects being filmed up there. So it's just like, well, I'm not even gonna.
Well, so they put a cap on it then.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
this money going out for them. So, like for example, Louisiana a long time ago didn't have that cap in there.
They just got pillaged by the
They
industry.
did. They lost a
wow.
lot of money, and so everyone saw what Louisiana was doing, and they decided to change things a little bit. So people have learned from the mistakes of others.
Wow.
But good for them. They attract
Yeah.
a lot of business there, but right now
No one's filming in Louisiana.
no one's filming in Louisiana. So, but that's the way the industry is. I mean,
Yeah.
you see like these different exoduses. There used to be Chicago, and then it was I think.
Weren't they filming here for a while? Like they had The Kingdom with
Yeah,
Jamie Foxx.
they filmed that here in Arizona. I remember when they filmed it.
Bill and Ted's.
They filmed the part of Bill and Ted's
Best
here.
parts.
Yeah, the Golfland Sunsplash part, which is just like a
And the
5-second scene.
The arena.
The arena.
Yeah, the the actual presentation of the history report?
Oh yeah, they could be. That was a long time
no,
ago.
it is. It's Corona High School.
Oh well, there you go.
It's San Dimas.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. So I don't know why they filmed out here, but they did.
Yeah. The best part is when you're watching that at Gulfland at Waterloo, when Napoleon's looking down the tunnel going "Sacre bleu."
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot of the 60 in the background, and it's 2 lanes.
Yeah, that was a long time
It's
ago.
a time capsule.
25 years ago,
Yeah, something like that.
give or take.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
total time capsule for Mesa.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the spec trailer speech, I guess.
All right, cool. So now, based on who you put in a spec trailer, are you more likely to get funding? Like if someone signs on for a spec trailer, a lot of times they'll sign on for the project, or how does that work?
Well, I mean, like I said, generally the spec trailer is to garner interest. You're not really putting a high profile person in the spec trailer unless you're personal friends with Chris Hemsworth and
Nice.
he comes down for a day and you do it. But generally speaking, you kind of put a little presentation together. But if Chris Hemsworth is already interested and attached, then you just say, here's a script and here's a letter from Chris Hemsworth saying that he's going to do it.
And he puts his thumbprint and blood on it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and they throw money at you. Like that's, he's got such a high marquee value that they know they're going to make money in the film.
Yeah.
You would really only do a spec trailer if you were trying to get maybe a talent attached or someone with money so you could go and get talent attached.
Gotcha.
You have this kind of catch-22 where, no actor is going to be a part of a film unless there's money attached, and no one with money is going to give you money unless there's an actor attached. So
Right.
you kind of run into this endless loop of trying to get something done. So you end up having to put some money in it initially in order to get that talent attached. You give them a pay or play offer, which is I'm basically locking down your time for this period of time, and if I make the movie, this is your salary. If I don't make the movie, you still keep the money because I'm taking you off the market for that period of time.
Gotcha.
So that's essentially what a pay or play offer is. When it comes to Hollywood. So you gotta throw some money out there. You get that person attached, and then you'll go out to your foreign sales, and you'll get your pre-sale numbers, which is like, okay, in Germany we expect it to do this based upon this actor here whose bankability index is X, and we expect them to do $15 million, so we'll give you a percentage of that up front, and you're using those pre-sale numbers in order to make your film.
Huh.
And they used to be a lot more lucrative. There still are people that are funding their movie just by pre-sale numbers, but generally speaking, the numbers have come down quite a bit for at least everyone that I've talked to in the distribution world. That they're not seeing the kind of numbers that they used to.
Huh.
So that's how some of the movies are made.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Yeah, you pretty much got to know what you're doing with the movie before you even start to film at all.
Right.
You got to have a plan for where you're releasing, how you're releasing, different territories and things like that.
Yeah, I've sat there and watched you put things together where you're like, this is the project, this is how much money I have. I don't know if I was supposed to. I don't know if I'm throwing you under the bus here by saying
No,
this.
I'm pretty open when it comes to that kind of stuff.
But no, I sat there and you divided up the amount of cash that this percentage goes to this percentage goes to this. You had a spreadsheet. You kind of, this is how many locations we have. This is how many people we have working on each location in production. This is what it is in post-production. This is what we have for Gatorade so that people can drink when they're on set.
All important stuff.
Yeah. Which, by the way, let's go ahead and clear the elephant in the room. If it hadn't been for me, every popsicle you had on Kiss the Devil in the Dark would have melted because you left those on the table the night before, and I put them in the freezer. Yeah.
Good for you.
So, and those were a hot ticket item.
You earned your very special thanks.
Oh yeah,
your special
for sure.
thanks.
That was probably what got
it
me
was
there.
for the popsicles, as I recall now.
The popsicles, because
Yeah.
no frozen goods were put away.
No.
Yeah, you and Ken just kind of set them on the table. I was like, hello, creamies?
Well, yeah.
Come on, guys.
I shouldn't be touching that stuff anyway. That's why I hire PAs.
Yeah, you need to have an intern or something.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to people who are wanting to get into film?
Oh, don't.
I was gonna say other than don't, and I'm not just acting because, of course, you know, you have to act, you have to have talent, but you know, people who want to be in the industry but don't necessarily know what they want to do in the industry, but say they can't act or something like that, but they have interest in movies. You know, everybody grows up wanting to make soundtracks for movies. You know, like, oh man, if I had this, if I had this job and it was my job to make this soundtrack for this scene, I'd throw that song in there. Everybody's thought of that at least once. You're the guy that actually does that now. So, what kind of what wisdom do you have to pass on?
Well, it's a hard road. I think most anyone in the industry will tell you that. You know, the saying is it takes 6 years of hard work to come out of nowhere. So you know, I've hit that point where I've paid my dues, and now the level of productions that I'm working on are larger and are better. But you know, I've worked on a whole ton of stuff, but you'll never see my name on anything because you work your butt off to come out of nowhere. But you know, if you don't know what you want to do in the film industry, but you want to be involved somehow, you start off being a production assistant, and you get to see the inner workings of a film. You know, you'll generally be tasked with going to the different departments, so you'll see what the camera department does, you'll see what the lighting department or G&E, which is you know, grip and electric, you'll see, you know, you run with wardrobe and everything, so you'll get to see everything and how it's put together. And that'll give you a pretty good idea of what you want to do, unless you already know ahead of time that, hey, I want to be a cinematographer, and I'm going to memorize everything there is to know about every camera and lens out there, and lighting and how it's put together, and you know, eat and drink, you know, sleep, you know, everything you do is about that, and that's pretty much what you have to do
to be that good.
Yeah, and you know, I say, like, if you want to get in the film industry, don't. If you have to get in the film industry, you got a chance, because it takes a lot, because there's a lot of people behind you willing to do everything you're doing and more to get that job. So you work your butt off doing, you know, measly jobs, student films and everything like that. You know, you work your butt off doing that at the hopes of getting to do something bigger. And you know, you make the relationships, and you know, it's taken me years to develop the kind of relationships that I have today that I can call upon to you know, bring, you know, call in favors and bring in talent or whatever. And
that Kiss the Devil in the Dark independent film, by the way, stacked with talent. Like stacked with talent. Like half the cast has been on giant productions, HBO, you know, giant blockbuster movies.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, and that's, you know, what you want to do to bring in, you know, you leverage some of your connections, and I did at the time then, and then my you know, producing partner on that, Ken Fox, he also leveraged some connections, bringing people in. And
Ken's awesome, by the way. How's he doing?
He's doing great.
Very good.
Last time I talked to him, he's doing good. He's out in Atlanta doing that thing. So
where the players play.
That's all right. So yeah, it's very much about connections, very much about the people that you know and have developed relationships with, because you have to trust the people that you work with, you know, explicitly. Because when you're doing a production, anything can go wrong at any time, and you have to be able to trust someone to come through and be reliable. And then, you know, when you find out that maybe they aren't reliable, then you never work with them again. But those ones that you find out that are reliable, that are good workers, man, that's why you see the same people working with each other over and over again. Because it's, you know, efficiency.
I remember you told me that in the very beginning, like, you just have to be reliable. Like, I have to be able to count on you. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's it. Pretty much that. Don't do stupid things. That's a good one too.
Fix the AC unit in the basement. That place was so hot.
It was really hot.
Oh my gosh.
In the middle of the summer.
Middle of the summer.
We had too many people in there, too many bodies.
Yeah. going up and down this tiny little studio, and these stairs, and people in prosthetics, and
I felt so bad for him.
I had to walk behind Doug Jones and keep my hands up on his horns just to be like, okay, duck your head. All right, no, move. No, freeze, Doug. Tilt your head.
Yeah, Doug's the nicest guy in the industry, though, I swear.
Yeah, he was great. He's like, he was sitting there, and he's like, I'm going to take a nap. I'm like, you want me to take your shoes off? He's like, yeah. Like, okay. Because he had those hands on. He couldn't do anything,
Yeah.
It's like,
Giant prosthetic hands.
Yeah.
And his shoes were big old, like, cloven hooves, too.
Yeah.
So he was in full getup.
all day.
All day long.
What?
Latex, too.
10
so it
hours?
doesn't-
10
yeah.
hours?
Oh, a lot longer than that.
12? 13? It was
Yeah.
ridiculous. I remember I was there all morning, went to work, and came back that night, and it was still going strong.
Yeah, which
Like-
led to some of the problems of the
Yeah.
of the shoot was the long hours. Unfortunately, I didn't have control of that.
Yeah.
But very long hours, and that's another thing about working in the industry is you're going to have to get used to that.
Yeah.
12, 14-hour days are normal.
Yeah.
So if you can't do that, then, or if it's not for you, maybe you have a condition, or you can't. maybe you can't do it. Think of other things to do in the industry, maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, to Doug's credit though, he didn't murmur a word of complaint other than
Not at all.
I'm kind of tired right now.
No,
He
yeah.
got that out of
He
him.
passed out on the floor of my house for a while. Yeah, I took them all their hotels every morning, every night.
Were your boys excited that Abe Sapien was in there?
I don't think they were too young to know who Doug was.
Yeah.
But
Did they know who Damien was?
nope.
No.
No, they were too young at the time.
They'd be excited now though.
Probably.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Yeah, everyone worked really hard on that on that production, and it's a shame that it was falling apart as fast as everybody was putting it together. But it ended up, like I said, I didn't know any of that was going on until the very end.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was like everyone knew.
Again, it was what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to badmouth anyone in the
that's
production.
not.
But it's just one of those things that happens, and
Yeah.
you got to deal with it and make the best of it, and make sure that you learn from your mistakes on the next one. And
Yeah.
I've never been in a position like that since, and I never will. So I always try to take care of my people as best as I can.
Right.
Having been in positions like that where, falling asleep trying to drive home, because I've worked long
Yeah.
hours, and it doesn't
Yeah.
bode well, especially
Yeah.
like day after day after day. Like maybe you can do it for one day, but working the long hours and then not getting the compensation for it is it's beyond what I would do
Right.
nowadays. So I've learned from those mistakes, being in positions like that, and the people that I work with, and make sure that everything is on the up and up. And that's why I've always been tremendously open on my books and how I run things. So
Right.
which has done nothing but help me in any production that I've done. So I think every production you learn something from it, and hopefully that next production is a little better, next one's a little better.
Right.
And fortunately, I've never not delivered on a production.
Nice.
Like for what I've been responsible for, I've delivered everything. So it's a labor of love, I guess you could say. That's as the saying goes.
Well, you kind of have to be passionate and love what you're doing to be in the film industry, because why the hell else would anybody go through what everybody in the industry goes through to be in it?
That's true. That's
You
very
know,
true,
it's-
and it just goes to support the saying even more is I heard one of these kind of high level producers talking and saying like, look, I only have so many productions in me in my life. I can't do them all, and if I'm gonna do one, I better love it, because they're hard enough as it is. Even if you love it, they're still hard, and there's times where you want to quit, and you ask yourself, why am I doing this? And
The Lord of the Rings trilogy almost killed Peter Jackson.
oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah, his health was in shambles after that.
well,
That's why it took so long for The Hobbit to come out.
yeah, it really did. But I mean, you got to love whatever project that you're on, and fortunately, some of these ones that I have coming up that I've been developing for quite a while now are ones that I love. So I can't wait to get them off the ground. Maybe we'll come back. We'll talk about those, or maybe we'll invite you out to the set, and
I can be an extra.
I'll let you do a podcast from the set.
Nice,
How about that?
dude, that'd be cool. Yeah,
Yeah, you
That'd be
can
fun.
you can talk to some of the talent or whatever.
That'd be a good time. Yeah.
Yep, do a little video podcast, and just so you can prove that you were there.
Yeah.
And
I'm here on the set with Tom Cruise. Hey, how's it going, guys? Actually, that's a horrible Tom Cruise.
yeah,
But yeah,
that was really bad.
I can't do any impressions right now. It's late. It's after 11.
Oh,
Wow.
that's after your bedtime.
Yeah, I'm an early to bed, early to rise kind of guy these days.
Oh, good for you.
So yeah, all the yeah, you get stuff done early. You got a lot more time to sit around and do nothing. It's so yeah, when you're shooting for mediocrity in your career, that's kind of the way things go.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly. You got to wake up pretty early in the morning
yeah,
to be as mediocre.
as I do, to work as hard to be as mediocre as I
Yeah.
crank out. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's good.
Right on, man. Any shout outs you want to throw out? Anything like that?
Let's just shout out to my team in Los Angeles, Sean
Nice.
Boyd, my homeboy, and Kristen Ketchdorian and Alicia Smirch.
Very cool.
My crew out there, my team that I work with, and Jim Zahn, buddy of mine.
Very cool.
Work with him. So everyone out there, hello, if you're
Right
listening
on.
and you've hung on to the very end.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging on.
Yeah. And this, I imagine, will be one of those things that people listen to in segments,
Mm-hmm.
So, anything that you can talk about that you want to plug? Yes, no?
Not at this time, but
That's fine.
you'll be seeing some good stuff coming here pretty soon.
That's fine, too.
Mm-hmm.
Right on, man. Yeah, well, hopefully in the next 10 or 15 episodes, your brother will have my theme song refined and dialed in, and I won't have such a start, abrupt entrance and exit song, or exit. I won't have such a abrupt entrance and exit to these podcasts. It'll be a little smoother, But eventually we'll bring Brian to talk about. Eventually we'll bring Brian on to talk about the thrilling world of banking. So
Yes.
that's a topic that's so explosive and so interesting that only Brian could handle it.
Oh yeah,
So
I'm sure.
yeah,
I'm sure.
if Brian can't make that topic interesting, then nothing can.
No,
Because Brian's a pretty funny
that'll
guy.
be one of your highest rated
Oh,
shows.
yeah.
I guarantee it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that I have a buddy that works for the U.S. Postal Service. He's agreed to come on, so time will tell.
Whoa,
Yeah.
you got some
Yeah.
amazing shows lined up.
Yeah, I know, right? I asked him about that. He was like, "Really?"
You know what I do, right?
It was so awesome because he's like, when you talked about this a couple years ago, I was like, Jesse's never going to have a podcast. Sure, buddy, I'll come on. Yeah, dude, we'll do this.
Mm-hmm.
He totally straight up told me that to my face the other day. And then he's like, when you released your first one, I was like, shit. No, he's got good guests coming on. He'll never want me. And I called him up. He's like, what, dude? Are you in that much of a bind? I'm like, no, dude, I told you I wanted you to come on. He's like, yeah, okay, man. Like, but I mean, it's the mail. He was so enthusiastic when he first got his job that he would just wanted to talk about the mail nonstop. And so after a while, he wanted to tell me a story, and I'd be like, is this about the mail? And he'd be like, yeah. And I'd be like,
And now you've invited him to
yeah, well,
spend an hour and 20 minutes talking about the mail.
yeah, well, pretty much, yeah.
Hey, well, I'm sure he's got some great stories.
Oh yeah, it'll be like I said, it'll be one of those super episodes. I might actually call both Brian and his episodes super episodes.
Yeah, like 2-3 parters.
Yeah, like get the marketing going. It's all about the hype.
Yeah.
You
You
know?
should probably take a billboard out now.
Probably. Actually, I'd probably be better served spending the $5 to boost my posts every week on Facebook.
Maybe.
Yeah, a billboard might be a bit excessive. Might put me back a little more, you know.
Now that I think about it,
Yeah.
you may be right.
Plus, there's only one spot where a billboard is effective on the planet, and that is the point of the mountain between Salt Lake and Provo.
Can't avoid it.
Yeah, and if you're in Utah, you're laughing. If you're not, or if you haven't been there, sorry, you didn't get the joke.
It's all right.
But it's funny. Right on, planet Earth. We're going to wrap this up. Have fun. Be educated. Enjoy the films you see a little bit more now that you know a little bit about what goes behind the scenes to get them made. And above all, be excellent to each other.